All right. Just paid the water bill and finally got the automatic payment set up. But for some reason, they don't. The city won't automatically start it. It takes them 2 weeks, two billing cycles, which is kind of crazy. It's like you can't even set it up online. You have to fill out paperwork, and then I brought it in person, thinking they could set it in and get it in the computer and get it started. But evidently, that's not the way it works. It takes them 2 whole weeks to activate, and then that'll do it. So I went ahead and prepaid in advance. Howdy, howdy. How's it going? I don't know how well this is broadcasting. We're trying to live broadcast here from Cocoa. In the middle of downtown Cocoa. I just finished paying my my water bill. But wanted to do a talking head. Let me switch over to the talking head here if I can get the camera to switch. All right, a little close, maybe a little bit better here. I bet if you can see behind me here, I've got cabinets or shelving again. You know, the drawers. So let me try to figure out where I'm going here. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, it's gonna take us on a scenic ride. if I can remember how to get there on the scenic ride. So we're gonna try to take a scenic ride together. Anyhow, I'm in process of converting the car to become a camper again. You know, I had originally made it a camper because I thought I was going to have to possibly move into the car when I was still living in the RV. You know, because complicated, but basically I was going to have to put the RV in storage because it was too expensive to try to live in the RV. And then was in process of converting the car, but then I ended up I think Timothy stepped in. I don't know, it was around the same time. I think Timothy stepped in and actually help cover my payments for the RV, for parking, you know, the RV at the campgrounds. And that saved me, I think, long enough until I ended up getting my own place. So everything kind of worked out thanks to Timothy and several other people who stepped in and actually saved me from a bad situation. But anyhow, I'm in the process of converting the car back again for living in, but not full time. I was thinking of doing it and taking it car camping. You know, thinking of going camping in the car and basically just using it like a camper. But I was gonna make it, you know, I've already installed the battery system, so it has the, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see on the side there. You can see the little switch here, so I can actually I can turn the power back on and charge up the vehicle house battery. And in process of getting, I don't know why this light, you know, people are going because the light's still red. He ran a red light. The guy next to me ran a red light. You're trying to turn left, and in America you can't turn left on a red light. You can turn right, can't turn left. The guy just ran a red light and I almost ran after him. But anyhow, I'm in process of converting us. I don't know if you guys want to see it. It's not going to be a full-blown conversion, but I'm trying to convert it in such a way that I can leave it converted and still use the vehicle as a regular vehicle to haul people and stuff, but still have the conversion there and not have to move it around and stuff, so that when I take it camping, all I have to do is just, you know, maybe take some food, some fresh food for the camping trip and just toss it in or something and just head out. It's good for like an emergency, you know, if you need to bolt, you can head out. Now, the issue is I need to try to make it so that two people, that's going to be the hard part, is trying to make it so two people could sleep in it. Two grown-ups. You know, this is a Pontiac Vibe. So it's small. It'd be like a micro camper, and even with one person, it's pretty tight. But I'm trying to do it with two people, and I don't know if we're both gonna fit in here with this cabinet behind me. We could both fit in here, pretty tight squeeze without the cabinet, but with the cabinet, I don't know. But we're gonna try it and see if my wife and I can fit in it, and then we might do some camping trips. So, and if she doesn't, by myself, there'd be more room. But I'm planning on, this is what I'm planning on putting in it. Yeah, so I could actually call it a camper. It's gonna have a bathroom. It's gonna have a bathroom. Gonna have a kitchen. Gonna have a bedroom. I am not going to install a TV. You know, in the previous conversion, I had a TV with the internet and everything. I'm not gonna bother with that since this is just a camper, not a full-time vehicle. And it is possible to install that because it was installed on this vehicle. I mean, I had this this Vibe decked out so that, you know, one person could live in it. But now I'm gonna do it so two people can travel in it. And trying to figure out how to best do it so that, one, it doesn't cost too much. Two, it has plenty of room inside, which means not too. I'm going around some bicyclists here. I'm gonna switch from talking head so you guys can see the awesome view I'm getting here as I make my drive. Yeah, so I'm back on the river road, and that's one of the joys of living here in Florida, and even living where I live. I can ride home on this scenic route. These houses here to the left screen are multi-million-dollar homes. It's crazy how they have this set up. So on this side, there's multi-million-dollar homes, and then where I live, which is just a couple streets over, it's like really poor. But when I'm at Merritt Island and heading back, I usually take this route when I'm not in a rush. So I get this really beautiful ride, and you know, when I'm not in a rush, I get to go on this. It's like a little winding 2-lane road, and you know, it's got overhanging trees, and you can see the water, and occasionally you can see rocket, you know, going up over here on the distance here on the right hand side. That's where Cape Canaveral is. So really cool ride, but really interesting how they have on one side it's multi-million-dollar mansions and houses, and on the other side, you know, it's really poor. I actually like my location where I live because, you know, it's ideally located. I mean, it's like I said, I get to ride on this beautiful road to go home. So, you know, it's beautiful and relaxing just to get home. But also, I'm located close enough to Port Canaveral that I can see the rocket launches, and eventually I'm hoping to save up enough money to go on some cruises. So I'll be able to leave from the port, which is near my house. And Orlando isn't too far away either. I mean, I could get to Orlando within an hour and a half. And if I wanted to go to St. Augustine, I think it's within an hour and a half to 2 hours. And if I want to go to South Florida, it's a little bit further to get to South Florida from here. It's one north, you know, we're in the north part of Central Florida. So, not quite North Florida, but the north part of Central Florida, so almost in the north and on the East Coast. So actually a very good location. I think the prices here are going to go crazy. They've already started to. You know, what's interesting is in Brevard County, when I first moved here, and for the longest time, you could get houses here, like you know, like a used home that was under 10 years old. You could get it for about between $80,000 to $95,000. So you could buy not a brand new home, but a 10-year-old home or younger for about, I guess when California went crazy, on their expenses and stuff. A lot of people from California, I think, moved to Florida because the weather's kind of similar, but I think better here in Florida than California because California gets cold. Florida doesn't get too cold, not for too long at least. And they drove the prices up. Like, these are some of the houses I was talking about, these expensive houses here along the riverfront. They're really nice. But anyhow, the houses in Florida, the prices start going crazy. So Brevard County, which I guess had been behind the nation, went from $80,000 homes to now, I think the average house around here is about $280,000 to $340,000. So those $80,000 homes are now selling for at least $240,000 to $300,000. So it's gone up probably about 5-6 times the price in the last couple of years, making it very unaffordable because even though the price of the houses went up, the salary here has not gone up. But I think it's not just a situation with Florida. I think it's across the whole United States, which is messed up. The price of housing has gone up sky high, but the people's salary, hasn't gone up much. And it's not just housing. I mean, it's like, we're talking eggs. Remember how I used to make the McNoise sandwiches because they were cheap? And I was talking about how they have a lot of protein and you could basically have breakfast for 15 cents, like eggs and a toast, make the McNoise sandwiches. That would cost you probably about $1.50 or $2 now. So the 15-cent sandwich now costs like $1.50 or $2. Eggs have become so expensive, I kind of stopped buying eggs. Eggs are like a treat now, and it's messed up because eggs used to be, in this area, when we were doing those cooking episodes, I was able to buy a dozen eggs for like 78 cents. Now, I think they're at least $4, about, $4 or $5 for a dozen eggs in the same area, at the same Walmart. And now I buy eggs at the commissary, at the base, Space Force base, because I guess it's cheaper there. And I buy like the not the 12 pack, but the 18 pack for like $5. I don't really buy it, but my wife does, 'cause she eats eggs. But it's gotten expensive. I mean, core stuff, even rice. Remember rice? White rice is expensive. So I think with the prices the way they are, it's like everyday thing that you need, like food. People are getting crunched. So I was looking at the YouTube, and it seems like a lot of people are now really considering and moving into vehicles to live, which is kind of messed up that people are being forced to do that. So maybe I'll talk about it since I ended up getting myself out of it, that situation where I had to live in a vehicle. But it's becoming a reality for a lot of people because I think the biggest thing that make it so people end up in that situation is they don't own their home outright. Like they either owe a mortgage on it or they're renting, and if you're renting, oh my gosh, you are screwed. People, the rich people say you shouldn't buy a home. I think that's a crock of crap. They're kind of trying to get people to keep renting because when you rent, the person who owns the property, they can just jack the price up. And evidently, no matter what they jack it up to, there's always people who can pay it or are willing to pay it. So those who can't afford to pay it become homeless. Because as they jack up their price, why this car's just stopping here? As they jack up their price, everybody else jacks it up too. So you're in a situation where the people who own the property set the price, and it's not where the people who need it set the price. It's the people who own it. So if you don't outright own your own property, you're kind of screwed. If you have a mortgage, you're in a little bit better position, but The problem with that is if you lose your job, or you get sick or something and you can't work, then you fall behind in payments, and then the bank takes it again. And you're back, even though you've made all these payments and stuff, you lose your house again. So I think the safety thing would be to get a house. And I know that a lot of people think it's impossible to get a house, but if you are willing to downgrade, you might be able to buy a house with cash outright, and that would actually be my recommendation. And if you want to save money, try to look into things like tax deed auctions, like I did. Where they sell a house that the owner is kind of abandoning, and they sell it for the taxes that are owed on it. But you won't get it for the low price. Like my house, the listed tax deed, it was like $6,000. And in the old days, when it was just regular people bidding, you could have bought a house for like $2,000 to $6,000. But nowadays, because businesses are now buying them up, they jack the price up. But they won't jack it up so high, They'll jack it up to about between 50 to 70% of retail. Because they want to buy the house, and then they want to sell it, resell it, flip it for about a 30% to 40% profit. So they won't go all the way up to retail, but they do jack the dang price up, which is bad. But that's who you're competing against. You're competing against either other people or the business investors who jack it up. But in the old days, before the investors caught on to the tax deed houses and stuff, you used to be able to buy a house for like maybe $2,000 or less. You're like, why would people let a house go for $2,000 or less? It's probably a case where the owners were old and they died, or something like that. And the family, they either don't have family or the family don't care about the property. So the property goes up for sale after about 5 or 6 years and defaults on the tax payments. And the county just wants their tax payments. And then if you don't have anyone bidding against you, all you have to pay is the tax, which is going to be, if it's an old house in a poor area, your taxes for 5 years might only be about $5,000 to $6,000 or less. That's what mine was. I think they owed about $6,500, but I ended up paying quite a bit more than that because people were bidding against me and jacked the price up. But my house, since I bought it, if you look at retail value and stuff, it's actually about 2 or 3 times more than what I paid for it. So I got it for about half. I got it for a little bit less than half of retail. So it's still possible. But also, there are houses out there in areas that don't have many people, that don't have a lot of business and stuff, where you could get a house for under $10,000, sometimes maybe $2,000, a real house. So if you look around and are willing to move to the middle of nowhere, where there's no businesses or anything, and some of you might be like, well, how do you pay for everything? Well, surely you could save, like you could be where you are right now and save up the money, and once you have a house paid off, your expenses are like really not too bad. I mean, you're still paying the $5 egg prices that they're charging now, but you have your own house that you don't have to make a monthly payment on. I mean, that's something to consider. For me right now, my cost of living is like $400 a month, and that includes water, electricity, and internet and telephone. And the only thing that's not really there, I guess if I throw it in, gasoline. Gasoline now is expensive. It's about, almost double what it was, triple what it was just a couple years ago. So gas is probably costing me about $200 a month in gas to get to work. Try to not hit the mailman here. But anyhow, get a house. In the meantime, if you need to survive, I'm going to be showing how I'm going to do my car. And even though I'm not doing it for full-time living, I am building it based upon my experiences and making it so that it's like an emergency shelter. And I'm gonna try to make it so even though it's a tiny little vibe, just a small little mini car, that it will hold two adults and allow us to camp in it, sleep, eat, and cook, and travel. I don't think I would want to take an extended trip on this thing, being so small. Now, if you were a single person, you could live in a micro camper. It's not the most ideal, but you could live in it, fairly comfortably with one person. With two, it's going to be a little crowded. You're not going to want to stay in it much unless you're sleeping. And hopefully you don't flop around and move a lot when you sleep, or your partner's going to be a little upset. It's like a sardine. Well, we'll see if it works or not, but I know for sure one person will fit. And I'm debating how far I want to take it, because I'm thinking that if people are going to find it useful, it has to be something that anyone can build, without really building. So I'm leaning more towards doing what I did before, kind of, which is using pre-mades, like using cabinets and stuff, drawers, the plastic ones from Walmart or wherever. I actually didn't buy mine from Walmart. I had to buy new ones because all the old ones were bad. But I bought it from Goodwill, even though Goodwill's been jacking their prices up there too. So if you've not gone to Goodwill and you go there, you get sticker shock. They're selling the Goodwill stuff at either half the price of brand new, even though it's used and sometimes broken. They'll sell it at half the price. Or sometimes they sell it more than retail. I'm like, what the heck? They're charging more for the used stuff than you can get it brand new in the store. So Goodwill's gone kind of weird. But I bought like a 3 cabinet drawer thingy, plastic bin thing, for $9 the other day. And I'll show that off when I show the car build. But new, I think that costs about between $16 to $20. So saved half the money. Even though it's used and a little bit dirty and I got to clean it and do other stuff to it. But that's what I'll be using as my storage system. And I think I'm going to go ahead and install the rice cooking system into this car. So I'll be able to drive and cook, just like I did in the past. Debating whether or not I want to take a butane system, for cooking with fire, which might be useful, but, you're talking a tiny car, and I want 2 people in it. So every little space that I add additional items means less space inside. And I'm looking at potentially getting a roof rack thingy, or building a roof rack container to carry supplies. But then, I don't know if I really want to do that. I kind of want the car to be like normal. Not that I'm trying to be stealth or anything. I just want the car to be like normal as much as possible. And, just ready to go when you hop in. It's not meant for long-term living, but let's say a hurricane came and we had to run away somewhere. We could hop in the car and drive somewhere. And if the hotels were all booked or whatever, or we didn't want to stay in a hotel, we could sleep in the car. And if we were hungry, I could cook with the car or in the car and have food. Not like for weeks and weeks and weeks, but for a day or two until you can restock on food. So I'll be carrying like emergency food, like switch here. I'll be carrying like emergency food, like rice. So I can cook. I'll have a rice cooker so I can cook with rice, and also planning on having stuff like canned meat, like canned fish, tuna, and chicken, maybe ham, stuff like that. Even Spam or something for emergency. And that way the car becomes kind of like a bug out camper. Not that I'm thinking bug out or anything, but people like that kind of stuff. But also, it's just nice to have. So when something happens, you can just hop in the car and go. It's got everything. It'll have change of underwear, shirts and pants, socks, be nice and ready. Anyhow, I am going to go ahead and sign off. I just hope that after I finish all this, that my wife will be willing to go camping with me in the car. You know, a lot of people who have never lived in a car, you know, they kind of don't want to. If you have a spouse, if you have a spouse, you know, and they're not a car camper, you know, it's kind of hard to convince them because they're like, you expect me to poop in that bucket? And that's the other thing to think about. You know, some people aspire to live in a car or a van. It's like their goal in life. They want to live in a car or a van, but they haven't done it yet. And I'm telling you, you know, having done it for, I don't know, at least 5 years straight on and on, you know, mostly on, then off. And I've been doing it for about 20 years, really, you know, when you consider all the time I've lived and camped in a car and stuff. It's not as easy as a lot of people think it is, you know, and it's like, it's really inconvenient, you know, pooping in a bucket and having to dump that bucket, finding a place to dump it, and urinating into a jar or a bottle. Not very glamorous at all. And also just trying to stay clean, you know. It's like you got the smells, you're cooking in here and then you're pooping in here and, you know, in the vehicle and stuff. It's not exactly the most ideal thing to do, you know, way to live. But some people, you know, when I read or I see on the YouTube and stuff, it seems like this is what they aspire to do. They want to do the car or the van live life, you know. And then when they do it, I don't know, a lot of people I think probably give up within the first 6 months. Probably honestly, within the first 3 months, I think a lot of people give up. And it's because it's harder than it looks, you know, especially now. I can only imagine the people having to do it now. You know, if you were doing it to save money, I think it's more expensive to try to live in a car or vehicle than it is to live in a house that you've paid off. You know, because just a breakdown, you know, if you want to know like what the figures are. When I lived in the van full time, okay, it cost me roughly about $300-400 a month on food and gas and paying for Planet Fitness showers, you know, and then the car would break down because you're driving it all the time. Remember all the times the car broke down? And just supplies and stuff in it. I'm getting a call. I'm probably gonna have to sign out, and I will finish. I will continue this video later. Well, thank you all for joining me. I will continue later, not right now, but I want to show you too. We're doing some cool stuff at the house. The house is becoming like my own little paradise. I mean, it's not like a mansion or anything like that, but you know, it's a little bit of security because it's paid for, and I'm able to cook outside. You know, I'm able to live off grid even though I'm on the grid, so that saves some money. We'll talk about that. Okay, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye bye now.